own business and keep my family's business out her mother mouth.
You have a problem with me?
That's not
and
true.
I don't know what it
you
is.
saying keep my name out your
What is this? Oh, hell,
I dump your ass in that pool. You keep
won't dump
hollering
me,
at me.
no, my.
Yeah, you won't dump me. You keep hollering at me. Keep hollering at me.
What happened between Nell Fletcher and Kimmy Scott after the last show shocked a lot of people. But at the same time, if you look closely, it feels like something that had been building for a long time. This wasn't just a simple disagreement or typical reality TV drama. It felt much deeper than that. It felt personal, the kind of tension that grows quietly over time until it finally reaches a breaking point. And when it did, it changed everything. Fans who had been paying attention already noticed the signs. There were looks, pauses, and moments where conversations suddenly felt cold. Something was off, but no one expected it to turn into this. No one expected Nell and Kimmy, two women who once seemed to have mutual respect, to end up on opposite sides like this. But this situation wasn't about one small moment or one misunderstanding. It was about trust being questioned, loyalty being tested, and two strong personalities refusing to back down. After that last episode aired, everything shifted. Words were exchanged, boundaries were crossed, and what started as quiet tension turned into open conflict. To really understand how things reached this point, you have to go back to the beginning. When Nell first joined the group, there was curiosity but also openness. Kimmy, known for her calm and mature nature, didn't come in with negativity. She gave Nell a chance. She welcomed her, spoke to her with respect, and treated her like someone who could become part of the circle. That mattered, because entering an already close group is never easy. There are existing bonds, shared history, and unspoken rules. But Kimmy made space. At least that's how it appeared. Nell brought a different kind of energy. She was outspoken, confident, and not afraid to say what was on her mind. Some people appreciated her honesty, while others felt she could be a bit too direct. Still, in the beginning, things seemed to work. They shared conversations, moments, even laughter. It looked like a real connection could form. But underneath, small issues were already starting to develop. Differences in personality, communication styles, and expectations began to create quiet tension. Then the whispers started. At first, they were small, almost easy to ignore, comments here and there that didn't seem serious on their own. But over time, those comments started to build into something bigger. There were claims that Nell had made remarks about Kimmy's husband, and for Kimmy, that was serious, especially considering everything she has been through in her marriage. What might have sounded like casual comments to someone else felt like disrespect to her. It wasn't just gossip, it felt personal. Nell, however, saw things differently. She felt her words were being misunderstood and taken out of context. She believed there was no bad intention behind what she said. But once doubt enters a situation, it's hard to remove. And for Kimmy, that doubt had already done damage. From that point forward, their interactions changed. Conversations felt heavier. The tension was noticeable even when nothing was being said directly. And once the group got involved, everything became more complicated. What could have stayed private started becoming public. Kimmy remained calm at first, but firm. She wanted answers. She wanted clarity and accountability. But Nell didn't step back. Instead, she defended herself and stood her ground. And that's when things escalated. Because when neither side is willing to give in, the situation only grows. The tone became sharper, the words became stronger, and suddenly it wasn't just about what was said anymore. It became about loyalty, perception, and who people believed. The group itself began to split. Some tried to stay neutral, while others were pulled into choosing sides. In situations like this, even silence can be seen as taking a side, and that only made things worse. Then the episode aired, and everything intensified. Watching it back changed how both women felt. For Kimmy, it confirmed her feelings. For Nell, it felt like she was being misrepresented. And that's when the situation truly exploded. The conflict didn't stay on the show. It moved onto social media. Subtle comments turned into direct responses. The situation became public in a way that couldn't be ignored. Fans quickly got involved, sharing their opinions and picking sides. Some supported Kimmy, saying she had every right to defend her marriage and her peace. Others supported Nell, saying she was being unfairly judged and misunderstood. And just like that, the audience became part of the story. But beneath all of that, the real issue was deeper. Both women felt hurt. Kimmy felt disrespected by someone she had welcomed. Nell felt unfairly labeled for something she didn't intend. And when both sides feel wronged, finding resolution becomes very difficult. Every interaction after that only added more tension. There was no more benefit of the doubt. Every word, every look, every moment was analyzed, and things continued to spiral. What made this even heavier is everything Kimmy has been dealing with in her personal life. She's been facing serious challenges that already carry emotional weight. So this situation didn't feel small to her. It felt like added stress during an already difficult time. That's why her reaction felt different. It wasn't just anger, it was exhaustion, the kind that comes from trying to keep peace for too long and eventually reaching a point where you simply can't anymore. Nell, on the other hand, became even more firm in her stance. She wanted to defend herself and make it clear that she didn't see herself as the problem. She refused to stay quiet and continued to stand in her truth. And that's what made this situation so intense. There was no clear resolution, just two people, both hurt, both frustrated, and both convinced they were right. The aftermath affected everyone. Group dynamics changed, events felt different, conversations became awkward. The unity that once existed started to break into separate sides. And that's the real impact of conflicts like this. It doesn't just stay between two people. It spreads and changes everything around it. At the end of the day, this wasn't just about drama. It was about real emotions, real relationships, and real consequences. Fans were left with questions. Could this have been handled differently? Was it a misunderstanding that went too far, or was this outcome inevitable? The biggest question now is whether things can ever be repaired, because some conflicts fade over time, but others leave lasting damage. And right now, this feels like one of those moments that changes everything. Rebuilding trust takes effort. It takes understanding, accountability, and the willingness to let go of pride. And at this point, neither side seems ready for that. So now the question remains, is this the peak of the conflict or just the beginning? Because when emotions run this deep, the story doesn't just end. It continues to grow, and it often leads to something even bigger. And if this really was just the beginning, then what comes next could be even more intense. Because situations like this don't just fade overnight. When emotions run this deep and pride is involved, things tend to build, not settle. Every new interaction becomes another test. Every group gathering becomes another moment where tension can rise again. Right now, there's distance. Not just physical distance, but emotional distance too. The kind where even silence feels loud. The kind where people don't need to argue to make it clear that something is wrong. And sometimes that silence can be even more powerful than shouting, because it shows just how far things have gone. For Kimmy, this moment seems to be about protecting her peace at all costs. After everything she's been dealing with, she's no longer willing to entertain anything that feels like disrespect. She's drawn her line and she's standing on it firmly. There's no more patience left for confusion or mixed signals. From her perspective, she gave chances, she asked questions, and she tried to handle things calmly. But once that effort felt unreciprocated, she made a decision to step back completely. On the other side, Nell is holding just as strong. She's not willing to accept a narrative that paints her in a negative light. Instead, she's pushing back, speaking up, and making it clear that she believes she's being misunderstood. And when someone feels like they're being wrongly judged, they don't back down easily. They fight harder to be heard. That's what makes this situation so difficult. It's not one-sided. It's not simple. It's two people standing firmly in their own truth, with neither willing to step into the other's perspective. And when that happens, resolution becomes harder with every passing moment. The group dynamic has already started to shift in ways that can't be ignored. What used to feel natural now feels divided. Conversations are more careful. Interactions are more calculated. People are thinking twice before speaking, before reacting, before even choosing where they stand. Because in situations like this, even small actions can be interpreted in big ways. And the longer this goes on, the deeper the divide can become. Because it's not just about one issue anymore. It's about everything that follows. Every comment, every reaction, every moment adds another layer to the tension. Fans are watching closely, trying to make sense of it all. Some are hoping for resolution, believing that with time things